Hi, I'm Sophie and welcome to my world. Well, back to school is here, and one of the things that I loved about going back to school was art classes. And one of the things that always used to happen though is I'd take my colored pencils and they'd end up in my pencil bag and they'd all end up with their leads broken, and that was a real bummer. And so I came up with this idea of having a pencil roller, and it looks like this. It has a place to keep all of your pencils, but they're rolled so that it doesn't take up a whole lot of room, and it keeps all your leads and pencil points sharp. And I've even got a spot here for my pencil sharpener and for my eraser. Now, you can also make these for crayons. I've seen these for crayons and for markers, whatever you want. It just depends on the size that you make your pocket. So I'm going to teach you how to make one right now. Now, for this project, what you're going to need is a piece of duct tape fabric. And in this case, I'm going to be using tarp because it's got a nice flexibility. It's nice and it's strong. And what I've done is I've put duct tape on one side and tarp on the other. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this duct tape because I'm kind of excited about this. This has Garfield on it, which I think is super cute. This is made by our friends over at tapebrothers.com. They actually created this tape, which I think is so cute. I love Garfield. I love that he eats lasagna and likes to sleep all day. And he's also, because he's a cartoon, I thought that kind of worked with, you know, an art roller. And it comes like this. It's called Yay Duct Tape. And I'm like, yay, duct tape. So they're going to be coming out with a whole bunch of really cool designs, and we'll keep you posted as to what they come up with. So I've also got my regular tape, got my Tape Brothers tape and my Duct brand tape and all my other good tapes. I've got some hair elastics, and these are what I'm going to use to close my bag at the end. I've got my eraser and my sharpener, and those I'm just going to need because I'm going to need to be able to place them when it comes time. I've got my Sharpie pen and my dry erase marker. Those are for marking things. I do have my X-Acto knife, and I've got my working surface. But remember, if you're going to use an X-Acto knife, please do be careful. And I've got my scissors and my ruler. Always need my ruler, although I've got my great work surface, which has everything. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my pockets for my pencils. Now, what I want to do is I want to make this for my pencils because everybody has different size pencils. They have different things. If you want to do crayons or you want to do markers or whatever, they're going to be different sizes. The most important thing is that your pocket not be too big or too little, because if your pocket is too big, then your pencil's going to slide down into your pocket, and you don't want that to happen. So you're going to need a pencil because you're going to be using this as your template. So the first thing you're going to do, after creating your fabric, that is make your pocket. And I'm going to be using two colors here for my pocket. To make a pocket, you basically want to measure your pencil, and in this case it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches, and then a little bit extra. So I'm going to make it about 6 inches. I'm not gonna worry about that little edge tip. I'm just gonna make this 6 inches. And I'm just gonna measure out my 6 inches. And you're gonna be making a bunch of these. So I would suggest, I'm gonna cut this edge off here since I got a little squidgy. I would suggest making all your pockets ahead of time. And in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have orange pocket and a yellow pocket and an orange pocket and a yellow pocket. And I'm going to do my pockets about 10 inches. 10 pencils is what I mean. So I'm going to want 10 pockets is what I meant to say. So 5 yellow and 5 orange. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to cut there. Now, to make my pocket, what I need to do is have a center point where the tape is not sticky. Because if I turn this over and just tried to make my pocket out of this, my pencil, of course, is going to stick. That's not going to be a very good pocket holder. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to measure 6 inches again. Whoop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to use my ruler here, and I'm going to cut my tape in half long ways. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to pull this off of here. And what I'm going to do to make my pocket is actually lay this piece of tape right down the center. I'm going to center it right in the middle of my sticky piece of tape here. Now, what I want to do though is I want to leave about 3/4 to an inch overhang. So see, I've centered my pocket there. And see how I've left this? It's about a pinky. I've found that a pinky is a really good measurement. So it's about 3/4 of an inch. Put it right down the center so that I got sticky like a U. See the sticky like a U? Flip this over and fold it over. And now I have a pocket. And you can even see it right here. So here, if I lay this onto my work surface, take this like this, you can see how I can stick my pencil in. It pooches up for my pencil, and it's not going to stick. Now what you want to do is you want to make these pockets ahead of time. So to figure out your fabric, what you want to do is, in this case, I'm going to be using tarp-backed fabric. And so what I've got is I've got my piece of tarp. To figure out how big I need to make it, I want to make sure that I use my pencil again, because I want to allow at least an inch on the top and on the bottom so that my pencil doesn't get smashed. I want to make sure that that lead stays nice and crisp. So what I'm going to do is just use my pencil, which I know is about 6 inches here with a little bit of extra. I'm going to add an inch on the top and an inch on the bottom. So I'm going to make this about 8.5 inches. So 8.5 inches wide. And the length, basically you can figure I've got 10 pencils that I'm going to use. And so each one of these pieces of tape that is my pocket is about 2 inches wide. It's a little less, a little more. It depends on your tape. So in this case, I'm going to figure they're each 2 inches wide. Now, they are going to overlap a little tiny bit, but we're not going to worry about that so much. We're just going to make this nice and easy because we can always trim our fabric. So figure 10 pencils, 2 inches, that's going to be 20 inches. Now, if you want to make it 12 pencils, it would be 24 inches. It's just safe to go big rather than small. Okay, so I've got my fabric, which is my tarp on the back, and I've got my adorable Garfield on the front. And you know, again, remember, if you want to make this completely out of duct tape, go to it. I just like to use the tarp because it's a little flexible, a little bit more flexible. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a space up above here because my pockets are going to lay down, and if I put my pockets and then try to put my tape down, I might seal my pockets. So I'm going to lay my piece of tape down first. So I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to lay a piece straight across the top. Right as close to that edge as I possibly can get without overlapping. There we go. Because in this case, I don't want to cover up my adorable Garfield yet. Okay, I'm just going to cut this little extra bit off here and cut the little extra bit off of here. There we go. Now, I'm going to start laying my pockets down. Now, I want to make sure that I have a little bit of extra space down here on the end so that I can start my roll and that my roll is nice and secure and then my pencil isn't all the way at the edge here. So usually what I do is try to measure in about an inch. So about an inch, yeah, right about there. So I'm going to take my pocket, and making the pockets ahead of time is the best way to go. So I've actually made my pockets ahead of time here. It just makes it a whole lot easier. Okay, so I've got my inch. And you can figure now, what's nice about it is that this is going to be your kind of guide for where you're going to place your pockets. Remember, you've got that little fold over? You can kind of just place that little fold over right in line with that black tape there. So the bottom edge of my fold over kind of lined up right there. Okay, now my next pocket, which I'm going to change colors here, I'm actually going to overlap the sticky parts. So you know you've got your pinky width of sticky tape, and I've got a pinky width of sticky tape here. I'm just going to line those pockets up, and that sticky tape is going to overlap on top of itself. So sticky on sticky. So see that? And now I'm going to take my next one. Again, sticky onto sticky. And I'm just going to keep doing this down the entire length until I have enough pockets for the number of pencils that I want. Now I'm going to just jump ahead here. And here you can see I've got my fabric done. It's got all the pockets are lined up. They're all lined up here. Now don't get worried about the bottom if there's a little bit of unevenness. Don't get worried about that, because what's going to happen is I'm going to come back and put a piece of this black tape across the bottom, but not yet. Because what I do want to do is I want to seal my pockets really strong and sturdy so that they don't pull out. Because you are going to see, if you put a pencil in here, you know, you are going to put some pressure on that. And so you really want to make sure that that pencil is secure in there. So what I'm going to do is take some tape, and I'm actually going to make it a little bit longer than the pocket. I'm actually going to cut this tape into 1/2-inch strips. So this is where it's really nice to have an X-Acto knife. Now you can, of course, rip it, and I can show you how in just a second here. You can, of course, rip it, but the X-Acto knife is going to give you such a nice edge. So I'm going to make these 1/2 inch wide, which is about what that sticky was. So 1/2 inch wide there, 1/2 inch wide there. You should be able to get about 4 per strip of tape, depending on how wide your tape is. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up. And now what I'm going to do is just take this and lay this right in between the pockets. See that? Right in between the pockets there. And I'm going to just continue doing this all the way down. So I'm going to go all the way down. Now, I'm just going to jump ahead here. As you can see, I've got all of my pockets. They've got all of their divider lines in between them. And now what I need to do is I need to seal this edge. So I'm going to take my tape, and I'm just going to seal it right along the edge like that. Okay, now I'm just going to cut these little bits off the edge here, because what I want to do is come back on the sides here as well and seal this. Now, here's a big question. You may decide that you want to have a place for your pencil sharpener and for your eraser. And to do that, what I'm going to do is take a little strip of this orange tape. I'm going to have it pre-cut for myself. I just take this and lay it right in the center there. And then I'm just going to take my little pieces of tape and secure that scrunchie, or I guess this is actually technically a hair elastic. I'm just going to take this hair elastic, and I'm going to use multiple strips here, and I'm going to do sort of like an X pattern. And the reason I'm doing this X pattern is to make sure that this is nice and secure. And then I'm going to come back with more tape in just a second. So that is for the eraser. And let's do one for the pencil sharpener. So I'm just going to put a little piece of tape down there. And again, a little piece of tape this way. So see the letter X there that it's formed. And now I'm just going to take a little bit more tape. And I know this seems like it's overkill, but any time that you've got any pulling, I always think it's smart to add extra tape. So I'm just going to take a couple strips of tape here and come back across where those X's were attached, just to make sure they're nice and secure. And I'm even going to come back and secure these edges as well. One there. And there. And I would do the same thing with my eraser down here. Okay, now we're almost ready to flip this puppy over. So what we're going to do is we are going to seal up our edge and give ourselves, on the back side, a little bit of a frame. So what I'm going to do is I've put this half on, half off, and I'm just going to fold it over, and that's going to give me a nice, solid edge. I'm going to do the same thing down here. So I'm just going to slip this under here, half on, half off, fold it over. And now to close this, instead of using like a double tongue closure or Velcro, I thought it would be fun to use the hair scrunchies. So I'm just going to trim this. And now I just need to add the hair scrunchies on the outside. Now, once again, just like I did before, I'm going to lay this down right at the edge here and lay this one down right at the edge here. Okay, I'm just going to put that one through there like that and come back with another piece right beside it like that and do the same with this one. Secure it into place and secure it into place. And now just to make sure, I'm going to come back on either side here and just seal these edges. It's just, that's going to give you a little bit more security on those spots where you've got tension or pressure, because you really just want to make sure that these things stay put. They stay where they're supposed to be. I mean, over time, what happens is the tape, like, literally fuses to itself, seals itself. But in the beginning, you want to make sure you got it nice and solid. Okay, so now all you got to do is roll, roll, roll. Roll, roll, roll your art case gently down the work surface. Okay, so now I've got it here. And take your scrunchie, put it up and over, up and over. Oh, and then to attach, just so you can see how to attach your rubber band, excuse me, your rubber eraser, just slip it in, and usually, depending on the size, you might have to do a little twisty. Same thing here, do a little twisty. That's nice and secure. Put my pencil in. Slide you in, just like that. Okay, and now we'll roll, roll, roll again. And now Garfield is ready for school. Although he would probably tell you he's ready for a nap. For more things that you can do with your art supplies, come and check us out at Sophie-World.com.